In the aftermath of the devastating attacks that claimed numerous lives and resulted in substantial property losses, survivors in the Mangu local government area of Plateau State are sharing their harrowing experiences. The ethno-religious crisis in Mangu unfolded on Tuesday, persisting through Wednesday, with reports highlighting an alarming escalation in the death toll. As the community grapples with the aftermath, survivors are given first-hand accounts, shedding light on the impact of the tragic events that unfolded. Trust TV's Ado Musa completes the report.
Hundreds of people, including women and children, were reportedly displaced following Tuesday and Wednesday violence, a situation that necessitated the imposition of a 24-hour curfew. The police on Thursday say they have arrested 9 persons in connection to the crisis in Mangu, adding that more personnel will be deployed as part of a special intervention to restore and maintain law and order. Some of the survivors of the crisis narrate their ordeal. We were sitting in our community on Thursday morning when we started hearing gunshots. The gunmen were approaching our community, and eventually a bullet hit my hand, causing blood to start flowing. It was a very terrible experience. We are calling on the federal government to rise up to the occasion. What happened in Mangu should not just be condemned, but to investigate the plan against us.
We don't know what we have done to the attackers. What have we done to deserve what we're witnessing today in Mangu? What is our offense? They killed my son for no reason, made his wife to become a widow and his children orphans. We were in the village before this incident, but our houses were burned. We later fled to Mangu town. Now the only room we were managing has also been burnt. We are calling on federal government to deploy more security personnel to save our lives.
The recurring violent clashes on the plateau are signposting a breakdown of social cohesion between members of the community along ethno-religious lines. For now, the situation appears to be under control as survivors pick up the pieces of their lives. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
Still on the developing issues in Jos, the police says it has arrested 17 suspects in connection to the Christmas Eve attacks in Bokos and Barikin Ladi, as well as the fresh attacks in Mangu local government area of the state. Crisis erupted in Mangu on Tuesday and Wednesday, where many were killed and properties destroyed. Again, Ado Musa, who was at the State Police Command, now reports.
This is the first time since the start of the crisis on Tuesday in Mangu town that the police is coming out to give an update on the situation in the area. Parading the suspect at the headquarters of the State Command, Assistant Inspector General of Police Zone 4, Iboni Eibio, represented by the spokesperson of the command, DSP Alabo Alfred, stated that 9 of the suspects were arrested in connection to the Mangu violence, while 8 were arrested in connection to the Bokos and Barikiladi attacks.
The command is grateful to inform you that the situation as of today is under control, and so far 9 suspects, which you will see just now, have been arrested. Exhibits recovered from them include dangerous weapons such as machetes, kegs containing petrol, and other items. The area remains highly secured by security forces, and strict compliance to the curfew is being complied with as we speak.
The police also give the casualty figure and damages recorded in the crisis.
We call on the leadership of both faiths to call their followers to order and ensure total compliance with the government-imposed curfew. Both parties have promised to comply in the interest of peace in their community. So far, over 10 corpses have been recovered from various locations, 2 injured persons currently receiving treatment in the hospital, 1 car and 10 houses were burned down.
The AIG also said In order to strengthen the existing security architecture in Mangu local government area and ensure compliance with the curfew imposed by the state government, he had ordered the deployment of additional special intervention personnel to the area, calling on people of the state to remain calm and go about their normal activities. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
Still staying with security, but away from Plateau State, in a coordinated operation, combined forces from the 82 Division Nigerian Army, Navy, Air Force, Nigerian Police Force, and Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps successfully cleared multiple camps of the indigenous people of Biafra and its armed affiliate, the Eastern Security Network, along Umulolo, Umukele, Amosu, and Agbobu in Okigwe local government area of Imo State. According to an official statement by the Army released on Thursday, the troops encountered improvised explosive devices en route, stormed and destroyed terrorist hideouts, and conducted searches of buildings used by the group. During the operation, evidence of terrorist activities, occult practices, and acts of cannibalism were discovered. The troops also dismantled the IED-making factory. Items recovered included rank badges of 2 kidnapped policemen from Enugu Port Harcourt Road, Biafran currencies, fake US dollar bills, Biafran Liberation Army T-shirts, and other insignia. Additionally, military kits, bags, cables for IED detonation, and axes were seized. 2 suspects were apprehended, and the charred remains of murdered policemen were recovered for proper burial. In Owerri metropolis, troops on night patrol thwarted a kidnapping attempt by suspected IPOB ESN terrorists, engaging them in a gun drill and forcing them to abandon the victim. The security forces recovered an AK-47 rifle and magazine, a G3 rifle with mounted magazines, and the vehicle used by the terrorists. Also, participants and panelists at the annual Daily Trust Dialogue have given President Bola Tinubu's economic reforms a low rating, asserting that the reforms are falling short of public expectations by compounding the economic hardship in the country. The event held in Abuja emphasized the need for leadership at both national and subnational levels to actively seek local solutions to Nigeria's growing challenges through realistic policies driven by robust institutions. Trust TV's Shafiu Suleiman completes the report.
The 21st Daily Trust Dialogue, coupled with the presentation of the African of the Year Award, focused on the theme, Tinubu's Economic Reforms, Gainers and Losers. Kabir Yusuf, Chairman of the Board of Directors Media Trust Group, set the stage for the discussion, addressing contemporary issues such as the war on Gaza and the state of Nigeria's economy under President Bola Tinubu.
The socio-economic challenges of this country are mounting, and I think they're even becoming more daunting. The promises by politicians are getting more creative, but to judge by the results, the more things are supposed to change, the more they have remained the same.
Championing the occasion, former Minister of National Planning Shamsuddin Usman endeavored to reconcile the Tinubu administration's policy direction with the current economic realities in the country.
On the face of it, it looks like the average Nigerian seems to be the loser of that policy. But who is the winner? Certainly not indicate, because they've lost that bit of business, even though some of them are still importing and selling in the unregulated market and making money.
While the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, was notably absent, President of the Nigeria Labour Congress, Joe Ajaero, and Dr. Victoria Akai extensively addressed the theme, with participants adding their voices to the conversation.
If you check even the pronouncement this year, you hear that they have budgeted 1.8 trillion as subsidy for the power sector. Meanwhile, the power sector was privatized at the cost of 400 billion. That was what they sold the then NEPA. And then you subsidize it with 1.8 trillion in a year. A personal business, you sold your house for 2 million and you are giving the person 10 million to repair it. That is prodigal economy.
I extracted some gains, improved that the Nigerian economy is growing at a faster pace, 3.3% compared to the population growth. Nigeria's oil production rose to 9.16% to an average of about 1.3 million barrels per day in 2023.
And economics everywhere in the world developed by production. And production is a function of capital. You have to invest. And the policies you are putting up is shrinking those capital. You are increasing tax. How capital can be developed and invest for production?
It's not all gloomy. It's not all emergency. Of course, if you have an immediate shock, it is important that you have a first aid, kind of, before a long-term solution is being provided.
The consensus emerged that although premature to definitively judge the success or failure of Tinubu's reforms, early indicators suggest a disconnect between policy options and current economic realities, necessitating a more realistic approach. The highlight of the event was the presentation of the African of the Year Award to Dr. Imtiaz Suleiman, facilitated through the South African High Commissioner to Nigeria, Shafiu Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The former Vice President and candidate of the People's Democratic Party in the 2023 presidential election, Atiku Abubakar, on Thursday asked President Bola Tinubu to account for the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited's $3.3 billion emergency crude repayment loan. In a statement, the 2023 presidential candidate wondered why the only information available to the public on the mega deal is coming only through sources from the NNPCL. He claimed that a special purpose vehicle called Project Gazelle Funding Limited is driving the deal, and it was incorporated in the Bahamas. A few weeks ago, the federal government received $2.25 billion out of the $3.3 billion forex facility from the African Export-Import Bank. NNPCL in August last year secured a $3.3 billion emergency crude repayment loan from the African Export-Import Bank to stabilize the foreign exchange market. And also, the Federal Capital Territory High Court on Thursday rescinded its earlier order directing the arrest of the chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Ola Olukoyede. The court had initially instructed the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetukun, to arrest Olukoyede for allegedly disobeying a court ruling to vacate a property at number 6 Aso Drive, Abuja. Justice Abubakar Hussaini Musa, upholding the submission of EFCC counsel, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Rotimi Oyedepo, emphasized Olukoyede's commitment to the rule of law and professional conduct. Oyedepo assured the court that Olukoyede, as the executive chairman of the EFCC, would not willfully disobey court orders. Defense counsel Adeyemi Piton did not object to Oyedepo's submissions. Consequently, the court vacated the contempt order and cleared Olukoyede of the proceedings. The matter is adjourned to February 7, 2024 for a hearing on the substantive suit. And Governor Siminalayi Fubara of Rivers State has declared his resolve to remain committed to the purpose for which he was elected and not allow anything to distract governance in the state. Governor Fubara restated his commitment to governance when he addressed newsmen on the heels of the Supreme Court affirmation of his election as the governor of Rivers State.
Governor Fubara said his triumph at the Supreme Court has laid to rest the legal battles that added to the distractions his administration grappled with in the last 8 months. The governor called on all to join hands with his administration to build a competitive state that will be reckoned with as truly prosperous in all ramifications.
We had a few distractions here and there, and the good news that came to us this morning is a refreshing strength that will ginger us to continue the work of governance. I want to assure you that our purpose for governance will not for any reason, be deviated.
While expressing gratitude to God for his help and to President Bola Tinubu for his fatherly role in the internal crisis and the litigation against his election, Governor Fubara also extended gratitude to the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory for his support. Meanwhile, the governorship candidate of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Tonya Cole, who had filed an appeal against the election of Siminalayi Fubara as Rivers State Governor, has been reacting to the verdict of the Supreme Court. The court, while affirming Fubara as a duly elected governor of Rivers State, held that the appellant did not prove the allegations of non-compliance with the Electoral Act, among others. The court held that the appeal was incompetent and dismissed it.
Well, first, this brings us to the end of an election cycle, and I'm grateful to God Almighty for the courage to see it through. Of course, there's disappointment that we did not win because we believe that we had a very, very good case. But that notwithstanding, I want to congratulate all Rivers people for just seeing this through. And at the end of the day, I want to wish the governor, Siminalayi Fubara, all the best.
Governor Fubara has meanwhile acknowledged the need for synergy, collaboration, and collective effort in realizing the Rivers State everyone wishes for, and emphasized the importance of fostering an atmosphere of cooperation and understanding among the diverse communities within Rivers State.
This is a news update on Trust TV. Still to come. Retired police personnel protest against performance of pension scheme. This and of course many more stories after the break. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with the news update. A look at the headlines again. Survivors of Mangu attack narrates ordeal. And troops clear ESN camp at Okigwe, neutralize kidnappers in Owerri. More stories now. 38 persons arrested over the recent public disturbance in Nasarawa have been granted bail by a chief magistrate court in Lafia. Abubakar Abdullahi reports that the suspects were arrested for protesting against the Supreme Court judgment that affirmed the victory of the Abdullahi Sule government as authentic winner of last year's governorship election in the state. Here's this report.
It would be recalled that the Supreme Court judgment that validated the election of Nasarawa State Governor Abdullahi Sule triggered protest by the members of opposition People's Democratic Party in Lafia, the state capital. These protesters were arrested and prosecuted by the police over alleged unlawful assembly and public disturbance. After taking their plea, the court remanded them at the Lafia Correctional Service Center. At the resumption of hearing, counsel to the defendant, Ayiwulu Baba, applied for bail and promised that if granted, his client would be available at any time for the trial. The application was not opposed by the prosecutor, who is the State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Labaran Magaji. Ruling on the bail application, Chief Magistrate Mohammed Lanzi granted them bail on the condition that they must provide a surety who is a director in the state or federal civil service, and a written undertaking that there would be of good conduct during the trial. Counsels to the parties spoke to Trust TV after the court session.
The mantra of this administration under His Excellency Engineer Abdullahi Sule, that the rule of law will always take the front seat, irrespective of whatever anybody feel about it. So we came to this court, devoid of any sentiment or emotion. We observed that all the offenses alleged were bailable, and we withdrew all the bail, the counter affidavit filed by the police, and we urged the court to grant them bail in the interest of justice.
We feel the court is just, because bail, though is a constitutional right, was solely at the discretion of the court. So it is justice to allow one who is just accused of committing an offense to go on bail because he is presumed innocent. So keeping him in prison before trial will be tantamount to serving imprisonment before trial. So what happened at the end of the day if he's exonerated? So to my mind, I feel justice is served.
The case has been adjourned to 27th February 2024.
In other news, retired police officers in Kaduna State have again staged a peaceful protest against their continuous inclusion in the contributory pension scheme. At the protest on Thursday, the protesters appealed to relevant authorities to address their demands. Here's the report.
These protesters are not happy that they are part of the contributory pension scheme, which they say is subjecting them to untold hardship after retirement from the service. They are therefore demanding their exit from the system.
Under the scheme, have been facing series of difficulties ranging from non-able to feed well. Most of our children have been driven away from schools. We cannot be able to cater for their school fees. Many things. If defined benefit is a disaster, we the police retirees under the contributory pension, we are 100% ready to be under the defined benefit system.
One of the protesters, Esther Marcos, said her entitlement, which is nothing to write home about, as it cannot cater for her needs, has been worsened by the scheme.
Government to do is we want a total exit from this scam. This is wickedness. Our police retirees are dying by the day. How can you, somebody like me that is collecting a DSP in the police, is still collecting 40,000 naira for the past 4 years? 40,000, there is no increase, nothing to write home about. 40,000. With the way that things have moved, things are increasing by the day. You are still paying me the same 40,000. How do you want me to survive?
The retirees also expressed dismay with the rate at which serving police personnel are dying due to insecurity in the country and call on the federal government to address the menace. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
And in business, the federal government and the Kingdom of Morocco have intensified discussions to fast-track the process of achieving the final investment decision on the Nigeria-Morocco gas pipeline. Chief Corporate Communications Officer, NNPC Limited, Olufemi Shoneye, disclosed this in a statement. According to him, the discussion was held on Wednesday on the sidelines of a meeting between the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Gas, Ekperikpe Ekpo, and the Moroccan Minister of Energy Transition and Sustainable Development, Leila Benar. He said both parties emphasized the strategic importance of the project to the two countries and the entire African continent, and the need to drive it to completion expeditiously in line with the objective of stemming energy poverty on the African continent. The pipeline would traverse the Republic of Benin, Togo, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, Liberia, Sierra Leone, Guinea, Guinea-Bissau, Gambia, Senegal, Mauritania, and terminate in Morocco with a spur to Spain. And away from Nigeria, a Kenyan court on Thursday charged the leader of a starvation cult with child torture and cruelty over the deaths of more than 400 of his followers. According to court documents, Paul Ntenge Mackenzie and 38 other suspects pleaded not guilty to charges including beating and deliberately starving children. Mackenzie, who has already been charged with terrorism and manslaughter, is alleged to have incited his acolytes to starve to death in order to meet Jesus, in a case that provoked horror across the world. A court in the coastal city of Malindi is scheduled to rule on February 6th if the self-proclaimed pastor is mentally fit to face additional charges of murder. And in sports, Jannik Sinner ended Novak Djokovic's bid for a record 25th Grand Slam title on Friday, snapping the Serb's astonishing 33-match winning run at Melbourne Park to reach his first major final. The Italian fourth seed was unfazed by dropping his first set of the tournament against the king of Wrocław Arena, winning the semi-final 6-1, 6-2, 6-7, 6-3. He will face either Russian third seed Daniil Medvedev or German 6th seed Alexander Zverev on Sunday's title match, meaning there will be a new name on the trophy. 10-time champion Djokovic fought off a match point in the third set tie-breaker, but notched up 54 errors and failed to create a single break point in a subpar display but his stellar standards. Sinner, 22, said he felt he had learned from defeat to Djokovic in last year's Wimbledon semi-finals, the furthest he had previously gone at a Grand Slam, and had been looking forward to the match. That wraps up the news update at this hour. Do well to follow us across all of our social platforms and join our live stream on YouTube for more news, programs and documentaries. I'm Sakir Ibrahim. Thanks for watching.